No mess ups, no mess ups. Welcome back to the Dream Catchers Fishing Channel. It's your boy Frostin' Austin, aka Santa Clauston, because I'm bringing the gifts. Hey, just kidding, by the way, those are really cheesy nicknames, but I like them. Anyways, go back and watch the last video. I talk about knockoff lures, and it's really bothersome in the industry because really a lot of guys come out with very, very genuine, real unique baits, and then companies like Berkley, Savage Gear, Live Target, like they just come in and knock off and cut the price. And this is the problem I have with it, right? I really believe that the originator of the lure should reap financially. Like, it's just that simple. Think about this personally. If you came out with a new lure, right, and all the research and development dollars, which, by the way, I don't want you to take that lightly, because I want you to think about a bait like a Megabass Vision 110. It is a double ABS plastic that comes together, but it's also pressure tuned, and they have it weighted perfect. Not to mention, the original bait was most likely carved with wood, which is tuning entirely different than a plastic bait. So think about the models and time and constant practicing and working and figuring out the weight distribution, the pressure tuning, everything that goes into it, and then they come out with a revolutionary jerkbait. And if you don't believe the Megabass Vision 110, the 110 plus 1, the 110 plus 2, and in Japan right now they got a plus 3, if you don't think it's a revolutionary bait, it's because you haven't fished it. The bait has incredible action. It suspends out of the box. Everything about the bait is purely genius. And then you have a company like Berkley come in and make the Stunna. Oh, it's so different. Oh, really, Hank Cherry? You won the Bassmaster Classic on the Megabass Vision 110 plus 1, then signed a marketing deal with Berkley, and now the Stunna is the best. Nope, it's a knockoff. And this is what I'm saying. The originator of the bait should reap financially. I think about that personally. If I came out with a super hot lure and I had months or even years of development in it, and then some giant company was just like, oh, mass production in China, cheap, that would bother me. That would bother me. And here's the deal. It's kind of going on with a lot of the companies in the industry. And this is what I wanted to talk about too. I watched Kevin Van Dam win on the St. Lawrence River. This was 5 years ago before MLF. It was probably 5 years ago. It's crazy to think it was that long ago. But he won with a Duo Realis spy bait. I'm gonna go get one from the shelf. Boom. That's a Duo Realis spy bait. It was a craze, and still is a craze, in upstate New York, St. Lawrence River, catching giant smallmouth. Well, here's the deal. During the tournament, if you watch the live stream, Mark Zona goes, oh, he's using a Strike King prototype spin bait. And here's the deal. Mark Zona, by the way, who also has a contract with Strike King, a marketing deal, Kevin Van Dam, who's Mr. Strike King, and they say, oh, it's a Strike King prototype. It's like, why can't you just show the love to the people who originated the bait? They worked their tail off to come out with an incredibly innovative bait, the design, everything about it. It's like, just show them love. I'm a real firm believer that you can be a nice guy and not lie in the industry. You know, this is another great one. I fished the Bassmaster Opens, had a great finish on Lake Chickamauga. I think I finished 14th out of about 250 boats. I was throwing you can go on our channel and find it, but I was throwing a jig around boat docks and stuff, but I watched John Cox literally win the tournament around me. And he was catching fish that were still on bed. I was catching post-spawn fish that were filtering out in marinas before they went out on ledges. But here's the deal, is I literally watched John Cox buy at the counter there at Lake Chickamauga. I watched him buy Gary Yamamoto Senkos. Look like you're looking at me, I'm looking at John Cox buy Gary Yamamoto Senkos while he's got his big Berkley shirt on. And so after he wins the tournament, he goes, yeah, I was throwing a Berkley Maxent General. And here's the deal. He's sponsored by Berkley. He's got marketing dollars and everything tied to it, and he's not allowed to say he's using Gary Yamamoto. I'm just saying, I literally watched him check out at the counter with Gary Yamamoto's. So this is my thing. Just because a pro says, oh, it was this bait, guys, it happens all the time. I mean, I had one guy comment in the previous video, I think it was Jeff Crete, says, hey, he tells companies straight up, hey, I'm just telling you, the only stick bait I throw is a Gary Yamamoto Senko. And I just wish it was like that. And this is what we do. I'm just being 100% honest. Instead of carrying every lure of every brand, at Dreamcatchers, we carry usually the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 lures that are the Mac Daddy lure of that brand. Because it's like you get into way too many SKUs, and this is the thing that bothers me, right? So I have a guy, this is probably I don't know, a year and a half ago. He walks in and he goes, "You got any Googan Kraken craws?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I've got the Strike King Rage craws." And he goes, "Oh, the Googan Kraken craw's a way better bait." And I'm like, "Hey man, no offense, but like, how many fish have you caught? Like, how long have you been in the industry?" He said he had just gotten into fishing about a month ago. And I'm like, "Dude, here's the deal. I've literally been in the industry for 2 decades. That is a knockoff bait of a Strike King Rage crawl. Like, just straight up, it is." And he said, "Well, it's more durable." And I'm like, okay, one, it's not more durable. The Strike King Rage crawl, I can get a lot of fish out of it. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes the pinchers fall off, but I get 1 or even no fish sometimes out of a Kraken crawl. But that's the thing that bothers me. It's like the originator of the bait, the Strike King Rage crawl, the entire Rage series are fantastic lures, and they should reap financially because of it, because they were innovative, they were genuine, they were the first ones to come out with a lot of those designs. And don't get me wrong, Strike King's knocked off some lures. It's the whole industry. It's this whole weird dynamic. But this is what I was going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this. You're probably not going to like this. If you're not catching fish, usually the problem isn't the lure. It's you. Straight up. It doesn't matter whether you use a knockoff bait. It doesn't matter if you use a Vision 110 Plus one. It doesn't matter if you use a Rage crawl or the Kraken crawl or whatever. A lot of times when you're not catching fish, it's the fisherman. And I'm a big believer in that, right? But the big stain on the industry is like, oh, I'm using XYZ bait. I promise you, this is what's gonna happen. And listen, I love Chris Zaldain. You can go back on the Lake Lanier video. I was his camera boat driver going around. I cheer on the guy. Love Chris. But Chris is gonna come out this year with the knockoff mag draft, and I promise you, Chris is gonna say the new Googan Baits swim bait is better because of XYZ than the mag draft. And I'm just like, really, is it? This is how you tell. Oh my gosh, I got it right here. This is how you tell what is the best stuff in the industry. I'm gonna tell you. See what the guys are using when they don't have a sponsorship. Perfect example. Brandon Palaniuk was with Abu Garcia forever at the beginning of his career. Why? Because Pure Fishing sponsored Bass Nation. Brandon Palaniuk won the Bass Nation National Championship. He's a young gun. Love him, love Brandon. Big swim bait guy too. He's out there using Abu Garcia. Well, all of a sudden, they didn't line up with contract negotiations, and Brandon didn't have a rod and reel sponsor. Who'd he start using? He actually started using Daiwa product. No sponsorship, no nothing. Just like, hey, let's zoom in. He's on Bassmaster Live, and you can tell it's a Tatula or it's a Zillion, T-Wing system, everything. And I'm like, boom, right there. That is 100%. What these guys are using when they're not signing contracts is the best products in the industry. Because they have to make their money in the industry. They're not going to use anything less than the best. So I was like, boom, right there. He's using Daiwa stuff. Chances are the Daiwa stuff is the best stuff. And I agree 100%. I mean, we carried out, we are, this might sound crazy, we are an exclusive Daiwa dealer because they have all metal interior gearing, they have very innovative braking system, the T-Wing system, everything at a lower price point than most of the flagship models of other companies. I love Daiwa. If you're not using, I'm telling you just straight up, I don't even, listen, I'm an exclusive Daiwa dealer. I get no benefit from Daiwa directly, other than I carry their products and sell their products because I believe in them that much. They are that much head and shoulders above the competition at the same price points. So what are the guys using when they're not sponsored? And here's the deal. Listen. There's guys out there that are making baits in their garage, straight up. And they're like, man, I dream of having a big company maybe. I want to have a big lure manufacturing company. Here's the deal. It's really, really tough. This is the reason why I don't go to ICAST, just to be 100% honest with you. We went the first year and I was like, man, this is really cool, until I realized 95% of the stuff was stuff that had already been invented that guys are claiming is better For what reason, I have no idea. It's like it's been out there, bro. It's a Zoom finesse worm. It's a Zoom finesse worm. You're just calling it Billy's Baits and you're sponsoring some big guy. Whatever. I want you to dream. I want people to be in the industry. And I'm actually working on a project right now. I'm working on a project that will make every bass fisherman that desires to make money in the industry, it will give you the ability to make money in this industry. I'm working on that right now. I've got a team, me and a buddy. We're going down to Atlanta. We're designing something that literally is going to be able to make every fisherman in this industry achieve their dreams of making money fishing. We're working on that. But it's really hard to break in the industry because there's so much innovation that's already been there. I mean, being honest, like how much lighter and stronger can you make rods? I love FX rods. Got them in the shop. Even 13 fishing rods, like I had a rep come in and he said, hey man, I want you to use these rods, 13 fishing rods. We do 400 guide trips a year. So he's like, this stuff's gonna get used and everything. They didn't make it 1 week. They were so light and sensitive. They had no rigidity. They literally were breaking on hook sets, hung up on a log and going like this and the rod's breaking. Like, we can only be so innovative. We can only make things so light and so strong without losing its toughness. Like, the whole industry right now, it's like, how can we continue to innovate? It's really, really tough. So what I'm saying is, I want you to dream. I want you to, if you desire to make it in the fishing industry, there's a lot of ways to do it. I chose to do it through a localized, highly dialed in tackle shop, guide service. It's what I do. And I love that. It's a niche market, but it's really tough to break in the industry as a lure manufacturer because at some point you're just going to be trying to knock off other baits. There are little subtleties that are different. Like the knockoff El Chapo, right? The Chapo that Berkeley. I like it. It's a knockoff of the Whopper Plopper. And like I said, I know Larry Dahlberg. He created that bait a long, long time ago. The Chapo is a knockoff. But what's so unique about the Chapo, right, is it has a harder tail and it just has a different sound. And it gets bit. It gets bit a lot. And I wouldn't say more durable than the Whopper Plopper. The Whopper Plopper can absolutely take a beating on some rocks and still fish no problem. But it's a good bit. The knockoff baits do work. I'm just saying the originators of the bait should definitely be the ones that reap financially just because they are innovative. And this is the reality of it. Like, I'm 28 years old when I make this video. I don't know when you're going to be watching this in the future. I wasn't around when a lot of this stuff was invented. So for me, it's like, how do I innovate personally? If I want to make it in this industry, how do I innovate personally? It's tough to do, but you can do it. At the end of the day, it's all about money, right? Bass Pro Shops has turned into one of the biggest knockoff brands. They carried everybody, kind of like the Trojan horse effect. They carried everybody to get you in, and then they've started kind of getting rid of brands because they've just been knocking off baits, coming out with cheaper baits that they have bigger margin in because they have mass production in China. And it's at the end of the day, it's all about the money. This is the deal though. I want to be true to me. I want to be true to the industry. Man, I respect Ken Huddleston. I respect Mega Bass. I respect Z-Man and the Jackhammer, man. And man, I just really like premium baits. I like supporting the guys that were innovative and were the originators of the baits. It just really comes down to that. And a guy had commented, hey, not everyone can afford those premium baits. Man, I get it and I understand it. And that's why at the end of the day, it's capitalism and people are trying to capitalize on certain parts of the market and everything. And I get it, but I'm just saying, I just wish people would show love to who they're actually using and not be secretive or even come out with new stuff and think that there's some innovative genius. It's like, man, there's the Senko been around for a really long time. The Lunker Log and this stick bait and that. I'm like, guys, you're trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's done been invented for a while. Anyways, that's all I got. Leave your comments down below. I like the interaction. I love the conversation. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Dreamcatchers out.